Hello, it's been a while, as usual. So, I'm back. I've been kind of working on a new project, and I've been back and forth between HaxeFlixel and Unity, and I even went to Phaser for a bit, and I'm working on a project with RPG Maker and with some other friends, and I had this project idea, and I thought it would be easiest to do in HaxeFlixel, so I started doing some research on some things, and I thought it'd be interesting to make a video about FlxTilemaps. I don't think there's much in the way of videos on this, so I thought it'd be cool to show what I found. Um, what you see here is just my attempt at doing some procedural generation using the FlxTilemaps, and it doesn't look like much, but actually this is two maps. The gray squares are on the bottom layer, and those would just be kind of decorative, you know, ground tiles, and then the green would be what you would actually collide with. I haven't tested this yet, but I think this would be a good way to make kind of layered maps and whatnot. But I'll just show you some of the basics of it and maybe help you with some of the snags that I ran into while learning how to use these. So let's get started. Alright, so let's make a new project. And let's see, I already made a folder for this. And we will just open a command prompt here, and then if you remember, we can make a new Flixel project here. So I will just do this. We'll just call this tile map, just like that. And then we have our new project right here. So let's take a look at that. So I'll close out the previous one, close all. So as usual, we have our project here, and we'll just put everything in the menu state since it's there. And when we start it up, it'll just pop right into this map. But of course, you'll want to put it in like a level state or whatever state you want your map to be in. So first of all, actually before we do this, let's take a quick look at the API for what tile maps look like. So here we have the FlxTilemap API. It's got the usual stuff, constructor, and we have some settings here. You can have it be an auto tile. These are really cool. You can just tell it put in ones and zeros, and it'll automatically choose the correct tiles to link them up and make them look nice. I think as far as that, yeah, we have our height and width in tiles. If you're doing auto tiles with CSVs, comma separated values, I'll go into that in a second, then you don't need to change this. But in certain cases, you will have to tell it the size of the map in tiles before you place it and make it and all that. And other than that, I think we got the usual stuff inside here. And I think it even has some built-in pathfinding, which is kind of cool. I haven't played with that yet, but I think that'll be very useful. Also, we will need to use get data. Oh wait, not get data, I'm sorry. More important one is load map. This is going to be the way we're going to load in the data for our maps, like, where a tile is and where it isn't and whatnot. and we have lots of things to set in there, and I'll get into that in a second. So I think those are our main things that we're going to have to look at. Oh, I didn't notice there's some ray tracing in there too. That's kind of cool. But yes, and you can set individual tiles and whatnot. But yeah, let's make a quick map here. So in our create, actually before we do that, let's declare a map. So let's call this with this. We'll make this a private variable map. Okay, and that will be of type FlxTilemap. And then let's make our map. So in our create function, after the super create, let's say our map equals a new FlxTilemap. And this just makes the map. We haven't set any of the data yet. We'll be doing that in the next step. So some things we'll need. So if we do map load map, there's some information we're going to need. We're going to need a tile graphic and also our maps data. So to start off with, we'll just use comma separated values. And what are comma separated values? It's essentially just a text file. If we take a look at the oops, sorry, wrong one. If we take a look at the sample in the Flix demos, inside here, inside the assets, they have these text files, which are just the some sample data that they have for you to test out different types. We'll just take a look at the auto file here, and as you can see, it's a whole bunch of comma separated integers or comma separated values, just zeros and ones. Zeros is where nothing is, and one is where something is. So let's just make a real quick sample here. Bring in Sublime Text, and we'll just make a easy 8 by 8 map. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. And do we need a comma at the end? I don't think so. Nope, we don't. And then let's just do it down like this. Okay, so let's save this. Let's put that in our assets folder. Where is it? HaxeFlixel vlog, episode tile map, assets, and we'll put that in the data folder here. And we'll just call this map CSV dot text, like that. Okay, and then you need to, for your tiles, you need to use a special type of layout. So we'll just use theirs here, and here we have 16 tiles. But if you notice, there's some that are kind of connected on top, the right, the top and right, and it's kind of confusing at first at how this works, but I'll show you in a second. First, let's just save it. Let's put it in the same folder with our other assets. So assets, let's put it in images, and I'll just keep this same name, AutoTiles PNG. So real quick, how do they decide which tile goes where? Let's open up GIMP, and I'll show you what's happening here. So let's do a new one. We'll do Alright, so how it decides what goes where, we have a tile like this. Here is a tile. So essentially the way it works is it imagines that here's a tile, and they want to know if there's a tile connected to each side. So what it does is it assigns a number, 1, 2, 4, and 8. And essentially what this does is, depending on if there's a tile, here and here, it'll give this tile a unique number. So this is 1 and 2, so this is a 3 tile. Or, oops, sorry, oops, oh no. Or if there's a tile here and here, this is a 6 tile. Or if there's no tiles at all, it'll be a 0 tile. So basically, if we break this down to all 16 possibilities, we have 0, 1, 2, excuse me, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So basically it goes through, each tile represents which connections it has. So 0 has none, so that's essentially a standalone tile. 1 has a tile just up here, so it connects at the top. 2 is just 2, so it connects at the right. And then 3 connects 1 plus 2, so it connects here and here. Maybe I can put little dots to show where it connects. 4 is just at the bottom, so it's like that, and so on. And I'll just fill it out real quick. And oops, 15. Okay, hopefully I didn't make any mistakes, but essentially that's how each one connects. And if we take a look at the image again, we have that similar pattern. And this particular tile puts little corners in there, which when you're designing your tiles you'll have to take that into consideration, because you might be missing corners when you're connecting certain tiles. And because of that, there's also an alternate version like this, which maybe I can go into later. I haven't really done research on how it determines these, but I believe it's still a similar method. So, so when we do this, so let's put a little bit of obstacles in here. Maybe we can put a little L shape there, standalone block here, maybe connect this down here, and that might make for interesting shapes. So let's resave that. Alright, so now let's get back to making this map. So what we're going to do is we're going to load this map, but what we're going to have to do, I think one thing a lot of people run into here is when they want to load the data, they directly drop, oops, they generate the embed code and they directly drop the text in there like that. But actually, what we need to do is sort of change this text file into a format that the that the FlxTilemap can read. So what we'll do is use assets. Oh, I might need to import that. I think. Well, let's try it. Assets dot get. Nope, it doesn't know what that is. So where is that? Yeah, OpenFL assets. So yes, was it Control Shift 1, and I'll ask. I want to import OpenFL assets, and we're going to get text, and then we'll bring in our assets, our map text. Okay, and then next our tile graphic. This we can just directly drop in with generate embed code like that. And then tile width, I believe these are 16 by 16 tiles. It's not my graphic, so I have to double check this. Okay, yes, 16 by 16. So we can just, so each tile is 16 by 16 pixels. And then do we want to auto tile? Yes, we do. And what we'll do is in FlxTilemap, it has, I think it's an enum for auto, so FlxTilemap auto. And then from here, starting index, dry index, collide index, we can skip that for now. Okay, so have our map, we've loaded in the data, and we've set all the information it needs. And lastly, the most important bit, we have to add our map. Oops, not macro, map. Oops. And with just that, we should be able to test the project, and hopefully we should see a screen with a little map on it. As easy as that. I did an HTML5. Oh well, I'll show you anyway. So there we have our map. It looks like right now it is considering the outside boundary as a tile, so it's using the corresponding tiles as such. So yeah, there's our map. Simple, and I think if we place a character in here, we just have to create the character as Flix sprite, and then in update you collide the map with the character, and it's simple as that. But what I find a little more interesting is, I mean, it's cool that you can just make your maps and put your character, design every level and whatnot, but what I think is really interesting is making some procedurally generated maps. I won't do anything too fancy like generating rooms and all that. I'll just make some simple randomly scattered pieces. Let's try this. So instead of using the CSV here of these ones and zeros, we can actually use an array and of integers to make similar data. But instead of us generating an array with rooms and whatnot, we'll just randomize it. So let's make a private variable, and we'll call this map data, and this is an array of integers like that. And technically we could have loaded this get text into this array as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Okay, I am mistaken. It turns it into a string. So ignore that. All right, but let's make a random array of ones and zeros. So let's say map data equals new array of integers. And then let's put some information in there. So let's see, map data. Let's do a for loop, because so for I in 0 to, let's see, how big is our map? 8 by 8. 8 times 8 is 64, right? My math skills are not so great, so be careful. And what we're going to do is, with the map data, we'll just push a random value, 1 or 0. And I think, what is it? Flix random. What is it? Let's see, how do we get random numbers? It's been a while. I think it's a util. So flix util flix random. So I think, let's just type that up here. Flxel util flix random. There we go. Flix random. I think we can just do int ranged, and then we'll just do 0 to 1. Easy. So this will just bring us back a 0 or 1. So it'll go through 64 times, and then it'll have 64 zeros and ones. So now that we have this data in this map data array, we can just load it in here. So we can just put map data like that. And I'm about to show you a mistake that I made, but just to get things. So when I first tried this, I was like, okay, the data's in there. I have my tiles and everything, and let's run it. But there's going to be a problem. And it closes. Why? What happened? What did I do wrong? So the problem is, I think even if let's put it in debug, I think maybe it'll not drop out like that. And hopefully just show us a black screen. Oh no, it just dropped out. Okay, so so what's the problem? So it's loading in this array, but it doesn't really know what to do with this data. Like, it doesn't know how big the map is, because when we were working with the texts, did I already close it? Oh, I think I did. When we were working with the text, I think I can just double click it here. When we're working with the text, there's a new line character here, so it knows that it's 8 wide, so it goes to the next one. But with this other one, it's just 64 ones and zeros. So what we have to do beforehand is map width in tiles equals map height in tiles, and we'll just do 8. We can combine this because it's all going to be 8 in the end. And I think now, hopefully, it should, yep, there we go. It just randomly placed the ones and zeros, and then with the auto tiles it already you know, put the correct connections in and everything, which is really cool, right? So yeah, that's just some basic things, and I think also since we're procedurally generated everything, let's go big. Let's say it's going to be 100 by 100. So we're going to need, let's see, 100 times 100 is, what is that, 10,000? Like that. And then when we run it, it does the whole thing. So just like that, we have kind of a map just by, you know, this could be like a cavern or something, and you can like dig through the walls here and that kind of stuff, which would be kind of cool. So yeah, that's basically it for this. I think in the future I'm going to look into how you can generate maps with layers. For example, in the project I'm working on, there's a bottom layer that would have like sort of static things like grass, water, and mountains. Then on top of that there might be flower fields that are randomly generated, and forests, and to have that automatically generated and layered might look really cool. So yes, that's it for this episode. I hope to have the next one up in the next few days, and yes, please look forward to that. So I'll see you next time on my HaxeFlixel vlogs. Bye.